You're always there for people. When something goes wrong, you're the one they call. When they need support, you show up without hesitation. When things fall apart, you step in and help hold it together. And over time, that became your role. Not something you occasionally do, but something people expect from you. You became reliable. You also became dependable. The person others turn to when they need something. And on the surface, that feels like a good thing. It feels like you matter. It feels like you're valued. But there's a difference between being needed and being chosen. Because being needed is based on what you provide. Your time, your energy, your support, your ability to fix, help, or carry. But being chosen has nothing to do with what you do. It's about who you are. And if you really pay attention, you start to notice something. People come to you when they need something, but they don't always show up just to be with you. They reach out when something is wrong, but not always when things are right. They look for you when they need help, but not always when you need support. And that gap starts to feel different over time. At first, you didn't question it. You tell yourself this is just how relationships work. You tell yourself you're being a good person. You tell yourself it's normal to give more than you receive. But eventually, something shifts. You start noticing how one-sided it feels. How you're always the one adjusting. Always the one understanding. Always the one making space. And rarely the one being chosen without a reason. So you start doing more, giving more, showing up even stronger, thinking maybe if you give enough, you'll finally feel valued. But that's where it gets complicated. Because the more you give, the more people get used to receiving. Not appreciating, not reciprocating, just expecting. And without realizing it, you train people to see you as someone who will always be there, no matter what. Not someone they have to choose. And that's why it starts to hurt. Not because you're doing too much, but because what you're giving isn't being matched. Not in effort, not in presence, not in intention. You start feeling overlooked, not ignored completely, but not prioritized either. You're included, but not pursued. Appreciated, but not deeply valued. And that subtle difference, it adds up. Because over time, you don't just feel tired, you feel replaceable. You don't need to do more. You need to recognize the pattern. Because the issue isn't your willingness to care. It's where you're placing it. Real connection isn't built on usefulness. It's built on presence. Mutual effort, mutual intention, mutual respect. And if you're constantly showing up for people, who only come to you when they need something. You're not being chosen. You're being used. Not in a harsh way, but in a quiet, normalized way. You deserve to be in spaces where you don't have to earn your place, where you don't have to prove your value, where you're chosen, not just needed. And the moment you start recognizing that difference, everything changes. Thanks for listening. Stay motivated, spirits.